Alright, so for this video reaction 3, we had to watch a video about how to start changing an unhealthy work environment. And the speaker was Glenn D. Rolzman. In this video, he talked about what contributes to a toxic work environment and the significant factors that are determining our working life quality. He talks about his approach and how it addresses how to achieve a permanent end to slander and bullying in the workplace. Something that stood out to me that he said was or made very clear in this video is that bullying is a real thing in the workplace and how it happens a lot and we may not even realize it. Something that the speaker talks about is backbiting. And before watching this TED Talk, I had not heard that term before. I did not know what backbiting was. So I looked it up and I learned that it was pretty much just a malicious talk about someone who is not present. It is to talk behind somebody's back and to slander somebody in their absence. It originally came from to bite someone in their back when they're not there. So it's pretty much just talking negatively about somebody without them knowing, without them being there. And the speaker talks about why do we do it? Why do it? Is it to elevate yourself while talking other people down? And thinking about it, that is why I think a lot of people do it, to try to make themselves look good because they're talking down about other people. And the speaker talks about how doing this is why bullying happens in the workplace. Because it may seem small, but an example that he used was if you hear a rumor about somebody, it may not even be real. But if I were to tell a rumor about somebody that I think that they cheat on their tests, and somebody else hears it, it may alter how they think of that person. And something that the speaker talked about to help with this would be the triple filter test. And he talks about, is it true, which is the first question, is it good, which is the second question, and is it useful, which is the third question. And he said if it's not true, if it's not good, if it's not useful, if it's none of these, then why even tell it to me? I also thought that he brought up a good, I really liked his way that he, way he helped different work environments and their backbiting situations. So what he said was that he would have them gather into groups and the first question that you would ask the group is, do you believe that backbiting takes place here in this work environment? And they'd raise your hands. And then the next thing is that they would define what it is. Define how the backbiting is happening in that specific work environment. What is being said, how it's being done. And then the second question that is supposed to be asked is, would you like to work in a place where there is no backbiting? And most likely, almost everybody will raise their hand and say, yes, I want to work in a place that does not have backbiting. So he has a project, which after hearing it would probably be a very hard project to do. So for his project, he says, let's not have any backbiting for 6 months. Do you guys agree? And just like thinking about it, everybody's like, okay, that sounds good. No bullying in the workplace for 6 months. I agree. And then he has them all sign a paper saying that for the next 6 months that there will be no backbiting that is happening in the work environment. So they sign the paper, he hangs it up, and they all have proof that they all agreed that there's no backbiting, that nothing negative will be said about anybody. And at the end of the day, he asked the group if there's any backbiting and how they think it went. So there's any backbiting that said, if I were to say something negative about somebody, then they'd have to say, Delaney said that she didn't think that they were working hard enough, which would be considered backbiting. And the speaker also explains that the productivity was increased with the study. So in my opinion, I think it probably increased because of the fact that they were not talking about other people. They had time to just work on their work, and they didn't have time to gossip about what was happening with everybody else in the workplace. They were able to focus on themselves rather than focusing on all the other people that they work with, all their coworkers. The speaker also talked about how if you're going to do this in the workplace, if you're going to stop talking negatively about everybody in the workplace, then you have to also stop talking negatively about everybody everywhere. And I think that that would be something that would be harder than expected, because when he says that, it's you're at the dinner table telling your wife about your day, and you can't say, this person did this wrong, this person did this wrong, I can't believe this happened today, because that's all considered backbiting. You can't in front of your kids say, I can't believe that this happened, your coach sucks, blah 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 blah, on the way home from practice, because that'd be backbiting. And the speaker also said something that stood out to me. And when you say that, like in front of your kids, when you say that in front of people who look up to you, or even just people who are around you a lot, you're an influence. You're influencing them that it's okay to talk negative about other people. And something that's kind of important is, like, when I have kids, I don't want people talking negative about them. So why should they talk negative about other people? Because other people probably don't want their kids being talked negatively about either. So an important thing is to remember that you're an influence when you're talking negative, because you're leading other people to also want to talk negative or agree with you or egg them on or have a bias towards that person that you're talking negative towards. So overall, I feel like I learned a lot from this video, and I'm glad that we had to watch this TED Talk.